皆さん、英語のソータです。
And I'm Riley.
Hey Riley, in Japan, no sorry, in Osaka, it's too cold.
Yeah.
Last night it was minus 2 Celsius. It doesn't happen in Osaka. How about in Kagawa?
Yeah, it was the same here. I think -2 or -3 last night. And yeah, when I got out of work last night at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, it was snowing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like the snow wasn't sticking to the ground, but
Mhm.
yeah, there was snow in the air and there was snow on my bike seat when I went to go home. Yeah.
Wow. How about today? It's 1 degree here in Osaka.
Same. Yeah, it's one right now here.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's windy.
Yeah, but compared to Hokkaido, or yeah, other cities where it's snowing, I guess, not that cold, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually going to Hokkaido tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and where I'm going to Furano, and it is only -4 there right now, so not so much colder, but apparently the low today is -14, which is pretty cold.
なるほど。Yeah, we shouldn't catch a cold. 皆さんも風邪をひかないように注意していただければと思うんですけど、大寒波が来ておりますよね。今日は2025年2月8日なんですけれども、大阪、昨日の晩、マイナス2度だったんですよ。で、大阪でマイナスになることって、Yeah, looking back in my entire life, I've never experienced that minus something っていうのがなかなかマイナスないので、マイナスみたいな大阪ではもう結構ざわついてるんですけど、今日も朝1度ぐらいでしたかね。なので、ね、風邪ひかないように気をつけなきゃって思うのと、まあ、ライリーのところも結構同じぐらいの気温なんだなと思うんですけど、でもなんか北海道とかのマイナスのとかと、またなんか体感って違うのかなと思うんですけど、こう行った時にね、雪降ってる降ってないも関係あるのかもしれませんけれども、はい、なので、ちょっとね、温まるエピソードをお届けしたいなと思うんですけど、心温まれるかわかんないですが、今日もやっていきたいなと思います。So, Riley, are you ready?
Yep.
We have to warm everyone with this
Yeah,
episode.
I heard.
そうだと、
Riley の
台
台本
本な
なし
し
英
英会
会話
話レッ
レッスン
スン。
episode 301.
Alright, what is the topic for episode 301, Riley?
It's taxis in the USA versus Japan.
はい、今回のお題は、タクシーアメリカ vs 日本です。そうだ、前回のね、バイリンガルエピソードで、そう、僕の、状況を悪い状況でお伝えしたまま終わってるので、大丈夫かなって心配されてる方もいらっしゃるだろうなと思うので、そこちょっと触れておきたいんですけど、プラス今日のエピソードとちょっと関係してるんですよ。Yeah, I didn't mention anything. Yeah, I think I should say something about my condition.
Oh,
The
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, the pain is gone,
Good.
but yes, the vision is still blurry, so it's hard to see.
Mm,
And then the side effects, problems, and then yeah, I'm not feeling perfectly okay, but gradually I think it's getting better and better.
okay, that's
Um,
good.
いや、ちょっと目のこと何も触れないのもちょっとあれかなと思うので、ね、先々週かあんだけ言ってて何も言わないのはあれなので、ちょっとお伝えしておくと、痛みはもう注射いっぱい刺して、やっと消えてきました。痛みはもう全然ないです。ただ、まだ左目がずっと霞んでて、見えにくいので、あとはこの視力をどこまで戻せるかっていうところなんですけど、目が見えないとね、ちょっとなんか、ってはなるんですけど、痛みがまず消えてくれたことが OK かなと思うので、まあちょっと疲れすぎないように、頑張りすぎないようにはちょっとしないといけないんですけど、はい。そんな感じで今、ちょっと日常を過ごしてます。で、ちょっと英語でこのタクシーを選んだ理由を話しますね。Yes. And the reason why I chose this topic, taxi, is because I took a taxi last 2 weeks ago or something when I was terribly feeling sick. I had to take a taxi to get back home. Then I
Mm,
thought, oh, this would be another interesting topic to talk about the differences in Japan and in the States. So first
Okay.
of all, yeah, have you ever taken a taxi in Japan?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course.
Okay, then what is the big difference?
Okay, right from the start then. So
Yes.
I mean the biggest difference nowadays probably is that in most places in the US, you get an Uber rather than like a taxi.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Uber Eats exists in Japan, but do Uber taxis exist? I don't know.
Yeah, it exists, but not pretty common. Go Taxi is maybe more popular, but some are using Uber.
Yeah, okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, Uber is basically like a kind of anybody can sign up to be an Uber driver. So you just have like I think you have to get your car checked or something. I don't know how it works exactly, but you say I have a car, I want to be a taxi driver, and then Uber lets you do it and then people use their cell phone, use the app to I guess kind of call you. Not exactly call. They say I need a taxi and then some Uber driver comes and picks you up.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
which is pretty different than at least Takamatsu is still kind of old fashioned. I don't think we have Go Taxi yet. I've never used it. I don't think my friends use it, but you have to like, you know, if you're not in a part of the city where there are taxis all the time, which is basically only downtown, then you have to like call a taxi company to get a taxi.
Hmm. You mean in America?
No, here in Takamatsu.
Here. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah.
But in the States, anybody can call a taxi using the app.
Yeah. But of course, it depends on where you live. Like if you live in
Mm.
the countryside, like where I grew up, if I don't think there were any taxis at all. Even if I wanted to get a taxi, I don't think I could in my
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood or whatever, my area.
Yeah, in Japan too, sometimes it's the biggest problem to me. If, for example, we go to, where is it? Okinawa. Yeah, Okinawa. Uh, the Go app, which is really common in Japan, doesn't exist or it's not really common. So it's really hard to call a taxi. Like we have to actually make a phone call, then we have to call a taxi. So yeah, that's the same in the States too.
Um, about making a phone call.
Oh, I mean like calling a taxi. Like if
Yeah,
that depends on where you live. Sometimes it's hard to find a taxi.
right. Yeah. I mean, I would say in in the States, it's kind of either there is Uber and it's easy, or there's nothing and it's impossible. Like
Oh, okay.
it's
Mm.
rarely like hard to get a cab. Oh, sorry, by the way, I might say cab a few times. I cab and taxi are the same, but cab, I don't know if it's New York only, but in New York at least people say cab instead of taxi.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I was gonna ask you later. Like, cab and taxi, what is the big difference? But the same, and also that depends on where people live, how to,
Ye-
use the word. I
I
mean,
think so,
mm,
yeah.
なるほど. Oh, then in that case, Japan is a little bit, convenient because no matter where we are, at least we can find a taxi.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
not sure if it's no matter where you are. I bet there are places in Japan like I don't know, maybe in the mountains between Kagawa and Tokushima. I bet it's hard to get a taxi. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Maybe you can. I don't know, but there are probably places where it's impossible, I'm guessing.
So that means in the States there is no taxi company like Japan.
Um, there are, I think,
Mm.
still some, but there's way fewer, way fewer taxi companies now than there were. I don't know, when did Uber come out? 10, 15 years ago or whatever.
Mm. So those taxi drivers are kind of, private drivers. Anybody could be the drivers in the States.
Yeah, for Uber, yes.
Oh. I understand. なるほどね。そっか。ちょっとつかめました。まず、違いをちょっとシェアしたいんですけど、そう、キャブってね、よく聞きますよね。タクシーってね。で、そう、僕もキャブ使ったり聞いたりするけど、タクシーとどう、言葉の違いとしてはあるんだろうっていうのは聞きたかったんですけど、ニューヨークの人とかがよく使う傾向はあるかもっていう意味としては同じだけれども、キャブ、これね、ラリ打ってくれてると思うんですけど、タクシーって意味ですね。あとは、そう、まず、大きな違いとしては、アメリカではもうみんなウーバーを使うと。で、誰でもドライバーになれるらしいので、もう、まあ、車とか例えばなんかチェックしてもらったりしたら、sign up って言ってましたけど、sign up to be a driver って言ってましたかね。自分ドライバーになりたいですっていうふうに sign up 登録すれば、もう誰でもなれるみたいですよね。ちょっとそれ怖いのもあるかもですよね。うん、アプリからもう登録できるみたいですね。それに対して日本ってあんまウーバー、イーツはあるけど、ウーバータクシーってあんまなくないっていう質問だったんですけど、あるとは思うんですけど、多分一番今流行ってるというか、使うのは Go タクシーですよね。僕も Go タクシーなんですけど、最近本当にこの目のことで以外では全然使ってなかったんですけど、コロナ禍の時は、なるべくちょっとこうね、家族にも移しちゃいけないとか感染気をつけてたので、電車とか乗らないようにしてた時期は結構 Go タクシー使ってたりしたんですよね。なので、ウーバー僕はあんま使わないんですけど、でも使ってる人は使ってると思うので、あるいは地域によっても変わるかもですね。うん、大阪は結構 GO が走ってること多くて、まあでも東京行った時も、GO が多いかなと思うんですが、そう、それがまず違いですよね。こう、アプリでどれだけやるかと。まあ、アプリでドライバーが登録してるしてないかっていうところですね。で、次、タクシーを呼ぶってなった時に、日本は電話で呼ぶこともできるし、アプリで呼ぶこともできるじゃないですか。でも基本的に、アメリカはもう全部アプリで基本呼ぶみたいですね。で、日本の場合、そう、なんか不便なのが、僕が不便と思ってたのが、地域によっては Go がもう機能しない地域もあって、この地域では Go のタクシー動いてませんみたいな、アプリでポンって呼んでっていうのができないっていうのが不便だよねっていう話をしてたんですけど、ライリー曰く、アメリカは逆に、そのアプリでタクシーを使えるか、もう全く使えない地域かのどっちかって言ってて、つまり日本ってどの地域でも僕沖縄とか Go はあんま使えないなっていう記憶があるんですけど、あちこち行った時に、すごい距離を移動しないといけない時とか、なんかこう、どうしてももうこれ、沖縄とかって本当車ないと動けないじゃないですか。そういう時に使わなきゃ、タクシー使いたいなと思って調べるんですけど、アプリ使えなくて、でも電話したら使えるっていう地域って結構ありますよね。あるいはタクシー、沖縄の人ってもう、お酒飲んだらタクシー呼んで帰るみたいなのが主流みたいなのも聞いたので、結構、タクシーがいっぱいね、会社としてあると思うんですけど、アメリカにはそれがないっていうのが大きな違いでしたね。まずここまでが。Yes, I heard in Okinawa a lot of people take a taxi. Um, like I heard they make a reservation before they go to a bar. Then,
Okay.
yeah, I heard something about it. It's kind of common in Okinawa. So there is no Uber or no Go app that is not really common, but instead they can call, and there are those companies a lot. I heard.
Yeah, that makes sense. I haven't heard of people doing that in Kagawa so much. I mean, I would believe that people do. There are certainly places in Kagawa where you kind of need a car.
Mhm.
Um, but in the US, yeah, using Uber for exactly that, after drinking, after leaving a bar, you get an Uber. That's very common. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. Okay, then can you find another difference?
Yeah, another difference. This is kind of weird.
Mhm.
Um, but I would say that in Japan, when you get a cab, a taxi, the driver is almost always an old Japanese man,
Mm, mm, mm.
right?
Uh, mm, mm, okay, yeah. In Tokyo or in Osaka, especially in Tokyo, I find young drivers and even ladies, I mean girls, women. too.
Oh,
But yeah,
really?
I understand what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually know one woman here who's a cab driver, like kind of acquaintance, I guess you could say. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, of course they exist, but I would say the stereotype is that
Mm.
taxi drivers are older men,
Mm-mm-mm.
and
That's
Japanese
true. Mm.
is kind of the important thing. In America, I think pretty much anywhere you go, any city you go, um, cab drivers are often foreign, not American.
Oh,
So
really? Mm.
yeah. Um, in Yeah, Uber, it might be a little bit different. Like maybe now, I don't know. It's probably still about the same. A lot of foreign people drive Uber, but maybe a lot of people drive Uber kind of as like a part-time job. So they might just do it on the weekends here and there or whatever. So Uber drivers could be anyone, I think. But if like your main job is being a taxi driver in the US, often you're a foreign person. Like
Mm.
it,
Why?
it
Mm.
I don't know why. I don't really know why. I guess it's a kind of like maybe it's an easy job to get.
Mm.
Like you can kind of become a driver without, you don't need to go to school or anything like that. Or I I'm not exactly
Mm.
sure why, but I know in New York especially because New York is one of the few places in America that still has like a strong taxi uh I don't know culture. I don't, that's a weird
Mm.
word to say, but like basically, of course, you could get an Uber in New York, but New York still has like yellow cabs, they're called, like
Mm.
the kind of classic New York taxi that they still exist.
Mm.
Um, and those, the driver is almost always, yeah, not from the US. Like I would say commonly like South Asian is pretty common. I don't know, there's a stereotype where the driver is like from India or Pakistan or
Mm.
Bangladesh, like kind of that area of the world. Of course,
Mm.
others too, but it's very rare. I don't know in New York if I ever was in a taxi with like a someone born in America.
Mm. Then, yeah, we often see those movie scenes. Um, but is it an African American driver? I don't know. What is the famous movie related to, driving or taxi, yellow cab, Eddie Murphy? ちょっと待って。
There's a few. There's one called Taxi Driver that's with yeah, what's his name? Famous actor who is American, Italian American. But I don't think that's what you're thinking of. He's not African
Uh,
American. Um,
Fast and Furious, that's also the description of, a foreign guy driving a taxi.
are they taxi drivers in Fast and Furious?
I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
remember.
think they're taxi drivers. It's been a while since I saw the first
Yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah, but
what? There's
now,
another movie called
mm,
Taxi. I think it's called Taxi
tax.
with Queen Latifah.
The lady.
Yeah.
それやったかも. Yeah, my brother was watching that kind of movie a lot, and then I was watching together. Then they were talking a lot, and they were funny, and they were yeah African Americans, I guess. But yeah, anyways, that made sense when you explained that the taxi drivers in the States are mostly from other countries or not Americans, but perhaps yeah, they might have been African Americans. ちょっと待って、タクシーやったかな、ちょっと調べさせてください。タクシーの映画やったかな。なんか、そう、次のポイントとしては、日本、ちょっと待ってくださいよ。タクシー、2004年。なんかめちゃくちゃよう喋る、ベラベラベラベラ喋る、外国人2人みたいな感じの映画やったんやけど、ごめんなさい、何の映画やった話やけど、ちょっと分からへん。ごめんなさい。パッとは見つけられないのであれなんですけど、そう、次の違いは、日本って、almost always ってね、いう表現も、always じゃないんだけれども、ほとんどいつもみたいな時にね、almost always 使えると思うんですけど、タイピングお願いします。違う違う。日本は、おじさんがね、年配の方が多いですよねっていう、確かにっていう。で、 東京とか行ったら僕結構若い人に当たること多いかなとは思うんですけど、女性もね、いたりとかっていう、大阪も、いやでも大阪もおじさん多いかなっていう、そう、それが結構日本の特徴ですよね。でも、アメリカでは結構外国人、アメリカ人がタクシードライバーってなかなか見たことないって言ってて、そうなんだっていう、それだけアプリとかでパンってね、簡単に登録できるからこそ、一応労働のね、枠としてそこが埋まりやすいのかもしれませんよね。What about age? Do they young?
Age. Um, I would say
Sorry,
not
are they young? Are they young?
right.
うん
Yeah, I would say not young,
うん。う
but
ん。
not as old as Japanese drivers. Like,
あ
I don't know.
I
I
see.
when
うん。
I get a taxi, I get a taxi every once in a while in Takamatsu, like because it's not so expensive to go from downtown to my house. It's like 1,000 yen or 1,200 yen or something, so it's not so bad.
うん。
Uh, yeah, so if it's like raining a lot or something, I'll take a cab home instead of riding my bike home.
うん。うん。うん。
Um, but they're usually like over 70, it looks like. Of course,
in
I don't ask
香川
them. Yeah, in Kagawa.
いや、そんなおじいちゃん、香川では。
Yeah.
70超えてることはあんまないかもな。そのおじちゃんの定義が、うん、香川では70超えみたいですね。そう。もう一個さ、僕絶対これ言おうと思ってたのが、like, I think it's decreasing, but in Japan, for example, when I went to Kagoshima about 6 or 7 years ago, the taxi driver tried to rip me off. And then that's another problem. Not a big problem, but sometimes that happens. So we have to be careful. But after we started using those apps, it's getting
Yeah.
less. But yes, that happened in the past a lot to me. And then this time too, like I was sick and then I couldn't see. Then right after I got on I got in a taxi. The driver asked me, "Oh, did you have a surgery?" And then, "Oh, no, I didn't, but I can't see well now. And then I'm so sick, so I want to go home now." Then he said, "Okay, then we have to be careful. So I'll drive slowly and then I'll take you home safely," he said. And then I thought,
Okay.
"Oh, that's so generous of you." But I noticed that he was trying to rip me off, I guess, because he was driving slowly. But it doesn't matter whether or not he drives. I mean, how fast he drives is not related to, my pain. Did that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. The speed that he drives at doesn't affect your pain. It doesn't change your pain at
Yeah,
all.
but I
Right.
didn't notice that. So maybe he tried to rip me off because I couldn't speak and then I was so sick.
Right.
Does that
Uh,
happen in the States?
Probably yes. I can't remember any times when I've been ripped off by a cab driver. Except it happened once in Spain, I think.
Mm-mm.
When I was studying abroad in Spain, I had to go to the airport to pick up Yuki. Yuki visited me when I was studying abroad there. So I took a cab to the airport, and I remember him going like it seemed like the wrong way. Now, because I was just a student, I didn't know Madrid very well, and I certainly didn't know the way from the center of the city to the airport. So I wasn't sure, but
Mhm,
it seemed like he was going a weird way to me.
mhm.
Uh, and so then when I got back to my host family, I asked my host dad, "Hey, like when we were in the taxi, we went this way and this way. Is that like the right way to the airport?" And he was like, "Oh no, that taxi driver definitely was ripping you off."
Mm-mm-mm. What about in the States? Does that happen?
I'm sure it does happen. I'm sure it
Oh,
does happen, but I don't think it's ever happened to me.
okay.
Uh, Yeah, I didn't take cabs so much. I mean, I did every once in a while, but I didn't take them so much when I lived in New York because In New York, the subway is 24/7, so you very rarely need to take a cab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so sometimes I hear there are some countries where taxi drivers try to rip us off, like in Korea, or yeah, we have to be careful, I heard. And I'm hoping it's not in Japan, but honestly, yeah, that happens. And that
Sure.
happened in the past to me a lot. So we have to be careful. But yeah, in the States too, sometimes that happens. なるほど
Yeah,
ね。うん、
I
go ahead.
wonder if because of Uber, like Uber has ratings, right? So the passenger has a rating, like the driver gets to say, "Oh, this was a good passenger or
うん
not," and the passenger gets to rate the driver as well. So maybe that prevents drivers from trying to rip you off, but
Yeah.
I don't know because often a driver will try to rip you off without, the goal is that you don't know you're being ripped off, right? If you're a tourist
う
in a
ん
city, you might not know the fastest way to get from one place to the other.
Yeah.
So,
And at the time, I couldn't see. And then on the app, I saw it's about 2,500 yen, but it was double, 5,000 yen. And then, yeah, in the middle, noticed and I said, oh, I need to, go faster. Then he said, oh, you're sick, but you have to go faster. Then, yeah, I want to, go to sleep as soon as possible, but that was too late. So it was double. うん。
yeah, that's weird.
そう。はい、次聞きたかったのが、そう、rip off、あるいは rip me off、he ripped me off だったり、that's a rip off 名詞でも使えますかね。ぼったくり関連のお話ですけれども、ちょっとこれ日本語で聞いてもらえますか？そう。だからちょうど1週間前とかかな。またね、こう、ずっとアップダウンを繰り返してたので、眼球に注射を打たないといけなくて、そう、2週間前のエピソードの後、またちょっと悪化して、痛ーってなってきて、また目も見えにくいってなってきて、そう、注射を打たないといけないってなったんですね。で、まず、その注射打つときにも僕ちょっと言いたいことがあるんですけど、その病院の先生が打つときに、今回のね、病院の先生が、痛いよ、痛いよ、痛いよ、痛いよ、痛いよ、痛いよって言われながら注射を打たれるんですよ。もうそれが、もう分かってる。痛いのは分かってるから、もうバッサリさせてくれって思うんですけど、前行ってた病院の時はもう俳句をさってやってくれたから、そんな大丈夫だったんですけど、もう、痛いよ、痛いよ。はい、閉じたか、もう動いたかよ、動いたらもっと危ないことになるから痛いよって言われながら刺されるのが本当に辛くて、そう。で、それを乗り越えて、痛ーってなりました。で、まあ終わりました。で、もう痛すぎて注射の後ってちょっと立てないんですね。で、まあ、家族に言ったりね、迎えに来てって言ったらいいんかもやけど、僕ちょっとこういう時言えないタイプなので、ちょっともう一人でかばって耐えようと思って、って受付でね、40分ぐらい座ってたんかな。もうお会計もできひんから、目も見えへんから、お会計もできひんし、もう、なんやろ、片目ももう開けれなくなるんですよ。痛すぎて。で、なんとか下降りて40分ぐらい待って、もうそろそろしんどいから帰りたいと思って、歩いていくのは無理やと思って、タクシー呼ぼうと思って呼んだんですよ。ほんで、もう呼ぶのも大変で、アプリで目痛いからって言って、でもなんか目かすみながら見た、なんとか呼んだ、2500円、まあまあ、高いから歩いて帰りたいけど、まあ行こうか思って、はい、乗りました。で、タクシーまで行きました。そしたら、手術しはったんですかって言われて、めっちゃいい感じの人やったんですよ。で、いや、手術はしてないんですけど、ちょっと目に注射させて、今ちょっと見えてないので、って言っても喋るのもしんどくて。そしたら、めっちゃ優しい感じで、あ、そうなんですね。大変ですね。じゃあもう、今日は、ゆっくり帰りましょう。安全にね、ゆっくり帰りましょうって言われて、めっちゃ優しい人やん思ったんですよ。こんなね、なんか大丈夫ですかみたいにやってくれてって言って、ほんで、めっちゃゆっくり帰り始めて、まあ、ありがとう、優しいと思ったけど、途中で気づいて、ちょっと待って、僕のこの目の痛みとゆっくりタクシー帰るの全然関係ないやん、思って。で、途中で僕気づいたから、すいません、急いでますって言ったんですけど、もう遅いじゃないですか。プラス、身なりで、こんなボロボロでなんで急いでんねんって話なんですけど、あ、急いでるんですかって言われて、そう、なるべく早くちょっと布団に入りたいんでって言って、あ、わかりました。じゃあ、って言って、まあなんかもう見えへんからよくわからへんけど、スピード出したんかなわからへんけど、帰ったら2500円の道が5000円やったっていう、ぼったくりやんけっていう、全然優しい人ちゃうやんけっていう話やったんです。 Riley, did you understand my Japanese?
I think some of it, yeah. I mean,
Some of it.
it was pretty much the same story, right? As
そうそうそう。
you told in English.
いや、早口やったからさ、理解できたかなと思って。そう。で、ぼったくりはアメリカでも海外でもあるんですか言うたら、そう、まあまあ、場所によってはあるかねっていうお話でしたかね。そう、ぼったくり制度ちょっとやめてほしいですね。昔、鹿児島行った時も、そう田舎のところって結構僕取られるイメージがあって、知らん道で回られたこともあるんですけど、あれがね、もうちょっと治ってくれたらなっていう、まあアプリの普及とともに治ってきてると思うんですけど、今回は多分許可取りはったでしょ。ゆっくり帰りましょうっていう、それに僕は騙されちゃった。ありがとうございます言うてもうたから、そうなっちゃったんやけどね。Okay, like one more thing I wanted to ask you is about the taxi colors. I think you also
Oh, okay.
mentioned it, but
Yeah.
my stereotype is the taxis in the States are all yellow. Is that true?
Yeah. Um, no, not everywhere. I think in New York, especially, they used to be all yellow.
Mm,
Nowadays, they still exist. You can still find yellow cabs, but
mm,
uh, because of Uber, yeah, they're not the probably not even the most common kind of taxi in New York anymore. Probably random cars are. Because like an Uber doesn't look like a taxi. It doesn't have like a light on top or anything like that. It's just a car. Uh, but yeah, yellow cabs exist in New York. Some other cities might have yellow cabs, or like different colors. But I think, as far as I know, New York is like the one where the cabs are yellow, or at least used to be
mhm,
all yellow. Now they're sometimes yellow.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Japan we don't see those, yellow caps, I guess. So,
Yeah, they're like
mm,
black in Japan almost all the
mm.
time, right?
Yeah, that's the difference. Okay, anything else? Can you find any difference?
Um, I don't know exactly. I mean, the a lot of people when they come to Japan, they talk about like the like lace on the seats in Japanese cabs. You know, they have that like white
Mm,
uh cloth on the seats.
mm-hmm.
Uh yeah, I guess people always comment on it like, "Oh, they have these like white lace things on the seats. It's nice." And to be honest, for me, I don't really I guess it's nice. It doesn't really make a difference to me if there's lace or not. Like,
Yeah, I've never thought of it. Mm.
yeah.
Oh,
Um,
mm. And perhaps it's dirty.
yeah, I hope they clean it, but yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, your foreign friends comment on that?
That it's dirty? I don't think so.
Oh, no, no,
No,
no, no.
not
I mean,
usually.
it's nice.
Yeah,
They
I think
say
they
that.
usually think it's nice. Yeah. But
Mm. What about taxi inside of the taxis in the States? Dirty, clean, smell?
uh I think they're usually pretty clean.
Mm.
Uh yeah, I I don't think they smell bad. I mean, Uber, it's weird with Uber because Uber it's just somebody's car, right?
Oh,
So
mhm.
usually they're clean, but sometimes they could not be clean or something. Like, and I think also maybe nowadays I've never actually seen this, but I've heard that it's common for Uber drivers to like have bottles of water. So you get in the Uber and you can like have a bottle of water or something.
Mhm.
Uh, I've heard that's common. Uh, That sounds nice. I've never seen it, but in Japan that doesn't happen, right? You never get anything when you get into a cab.
I did.
Oh, really?
Only once, yeah, in Tokyo. It was a kind of special car. I was lucky. Then no extra charge, but female driver gave me a bottle of water. But
Oh,
that's
okay,
not super
nice.
common. うんうん。OK。なるほど。そっか。アメリカのタクシーもね、中は結構綺麗で、勝手にもしかしたらハンバーガーとかチキンとかあるんかなと思ったけど、ステレオタイプでした。 そう。で、日本のは、そう、レースがね、あって、外国の友達とかからしたら、あ、レースのタクシー来たよっていう、そんなとこ意識したことなかったと思ったけれども、そうそう、それが、日本のね、レース、後ろにかかってる特徴っていう、でももしかしたらあれは汚いかもしれませんよっていうお話でした。では今日のエピソード
いかがでしたでしょうか？
いかがでしたでしょうか？あのレースって洗ってるのかな？ Do they clean the cloth? I'm not sure.
I really hope so. I mean, I hope it's there because it's easier to clean the cloth than it is to clean the whole seat. I hope.
ああ、そうやな、そうやな、確かに。うん。洗ってんのかなっていう、あれが、そう、綺麗か汚いか問題は、ちょっとさておき、そう、タクシーの、違いはこういう感じでした。そう、なので、なんか、なかなか最近タクシーに乗る機会は少なくなってたんですけど、そう、久しぶりに乗って、まあ、多分、意図的なぼったくりをされ、2500円が5000円になり、ふわーってなってた時に、このエピソードで話そうと思ってたので、そう、あの時運転してくださった運転手さんもし聞かれてたら、そうですね、2000円ぐらい返してほしいなと思うんですけれども、目は本当に目と、Yeah, how fast he drives is not related to my pain やと思うの
Right.
で、そう、もし聞いてたら、はい、返してください、今度。僕は英語のソータで調べていただくと、今 X とかスレッズは毎日更新頑張っておりますので、そう、あれが一番更新しやすいのと保存できるから、そう、目がきつくてもポンポンって保存してて、そう、昨日なんて、ちょっと汚い話だけど、2日お風呂入ってなくて、I didn't take a bath for 2 days. もうしんどくて、everything is so tiring, exhausting. もうなんかもう、何もできなくてもうしんどいって、お皿洗うのもできひんし、そう、洗剤も家ないからお皿洗われへんくて、で、誰かに買ってきて、家族に買ってきて頼むのもちょっと、こういう時できないから自分で頑張らな思ってなんかやろうしたら、もうお風呂入ってないし、もうお皿も洗ってないし、体も洗ってへんしっていう感じなぐらいなんですけど、X とかは、そう、保存できるから、あれはパパパって作ったら。で、時間になったら更新してっていう感じで、まあ更新してます。で、インスタストーリーもちょっと、うん、お風呂入ってへんから更新、そう、あんまできひんのと、でも、調べたら出てきます。あとはまあ、その他 YouTube もいろいろ見てみてください。ライリーは Randy Salman XD で調べてみてください。So, how long is the longest, like, you didn't take a bath in your life?
Oh, probably a long time.
How many days?
When I was in like junior high school, probably like a week.
A week? さすが。
Probably.
ではまた次回のエピソードでお会いしましょう。バイ。
Bye.